he started talking about willpower too. Willpower, and I want to just mention this about willpower. 1, willpower, the will to say yes to what you need to focus on, and 2, the power to say no to the things you don't need to do. He also mentioned that in willpower, morning. Morning is the best time. People have more willpower in the morning than any other time of the day. Is that interesting? What time does all this get started? Do we start lead generating in the afternoon? No, sometimes. But the plan is to lead generate every morning. There's a reason. The people you're lead generating to and with are more receptive to your message.
Because they
have more energy. Right? Are we thinking about other people's energy? Right? And how does our message affect them? Okay, so real quick. Gary's Keller, it's called The One Thing. And Gary has written a new book that's getting ready to come out. We're so excited about it.
At Family Reunion.
At Family Reunion. Okay, I didn't know that. At Family Reunion. And so, it's called The One Thing. What do y'all think the one thing is? Okay, don't answer it yet. Okay. The one thing. And he says, we need to be thinking about getting small. Getting small. Kind of goes against everything we hear, right? Getting small. He doesn't mean dream small. He doesn't mean goal set small. But he wants you to get focused. Okay? The one thing is focus. And he says you've got to narrow down all the stuff and narrow it down and do what matters most. You've got to do what matters most. And he says, put first things first. Success is sequential, not simultaneous. Right? You know, can we walk without putting one foot in front of the other? Can't. Okay? I love this word. He introduced the word truthiness. Truthiness. Have you ever heard of truthiness? It's things that seem to be true. They're things that have a logical response and they seem to be true. I love that word. Yeah, it's kind of a truthiness there. Here's some things that he said we want to be careful of. Here are the things that I'm doing. I want you to identify this. What are the things I'm doing? And or what are the things I need to stop doing in order to be able to focus on what matters most? And in doing that, there are 6 lies between you and success. Are y'all ready for these 6? Number 1, everything matters. That's a success lie. It doesn't. How can one thing be the most important if everything is the most important? So we want to get better at identifying what is most important. Okay, in your day, what is most important? 2, multitasking. Multitasking. It leads to excelling in mediocrity. Being kind of good at several things at once. It makes sense, really, when you think about it. And he says with multitasking, you lose time bouncing back and forth and you lose focus each time you're moving on to something else. And they called it a truthiness about women can multitask better than men. Okay? Multitasking is a truthiness. It seems to make sense. But again, guys, that's why it's so important for what you decide is your most important thing that matters the most, that you protect your time to get it done. I want all of you to think back on some of your best months in this business. Were you scattered or were you focused? Had you been lead generating consistently 90 days prior at least? Were you rocking? Were you on top of your game when you were generating this business? Or were you scattered and multitasking and catching yourself sweeping the floors in the office, whatever? Procrastination, right? We've got to get focused, laser-like focus. 3, a disciplined life can be also a truthiness, okay? Discipline. I'm trying to read his definitions here. Disciplined is more of a trained behavior, okay? Trained behavior. And they're trained to habits. What Gary wants to encourage you to do is to be disciplined, but to have selected discipline. Select those things that matter the most, take care of them first, identify them, make them most important, and simultaneously build on those. Make sense? Okay. The next one is the willpower, which we already talked about. Willpower is always on. People with willpower are always on, and that's not true because it has to do with the body's energy. Okay? The balanced life is more about counterbalance. We'll go into more on that later. And big is bad if you think of it as everything matters the most. They want you to think small in terms of your focus, right? Big goals, big plans, big why, small action plan. Identify 3 key things you're going to do and do them regularly and to your best. Make sense, guys? The 80-20 rule is an example of this. But what he said is, number one, you've got to identify your 20%. And if you're swimming in the 80%, you need to get out of it. You're going to drown. Okay? He wants us to get into extreme Pareto, which is identifying the 20% and doing the top 20 most important percent of the 20%. Are we that laser focused, guys? To me, that was really interesting. But we're going to go into more information on this later. Do y'all like the kind of the ideas behind this? Getting really focused, getting really specific on the things you need to do. You can lead generate 15 different ways. Just do 3 consistently. It will change your business. Do 5 if you're doing 3 now. You don't have to do 15. Just do them, right? Pick those and get laser focused. Okay, so we will go into more detail on that. We've got a special guest. Hi, everybody. I'd like to introduce